everybody, this is Judy at Judy in the Kitchen. Today I'm going to make some kale vegetable soup. I made this recipe about as easy as it can be to put together. We're going to start with some kale, and I have about 6 cups of chopped up kale. And I have a little bit less than actually a bunch of kale. It was a pretty good size bunch, so a small bunch of kale works. Or if you want to buy it in a bag already cut up and washed, that will be fine, but you might still want to cut it up a little bit smaller, because remember, you're eating soup with a spoon, and if there's big hunks, it's not going to fit on the spoon very well. And then we're going to add 2 cans, 14.5 ounces of diced tomatoes. And then we want 1 15.5 or so ounce can of beans of choice. I've got black beans here. I've made this with cannellini beans. It came out just as well. So whatever you have on hand, you can use. And then we want 6 cups of vegetable broth of your choice, or you could do 4 cups of vegetable broth and 2 cups of water. I'm adding 6 cups of vegetable broth because it gives it an opportunity for more flavor rather than just the water. So there's 4 in the container, and then there's 2 more cups right there. So that's going to give us plenty of liquid in this recipe. And then we want 1.5 cups of diced potato. This is about 1 large potato cut up. If you don't want to bother with dicing potatoes, you could take 1 can of diced potatoes and drain them and add them to this. Now, when you use the canned vegetables in place of the fresh, your vegetables are already cooked, and so they're not going to absorb as much liquid as what we put in there. So you could cut back on the liquid just a little bit, maybe about 1 cup or so. And then we've got 1.5 cups of diced carrots. The same thing here. You could use frozen sliced carrots. You could use the fresh carrots in the grocery store that are already cut up for you. Or you could use a can of sliced carrots. And again, you would drain that and then add the carrots in here. And again, if you're doing that, you still want to cut back on your liquid, maybe by about 1 cup. And then we've got 1 cup of corn. I always use organic corn. 1 cup of diced yellow onion. You can buy this frozen if you want. Just add 1 cup of frozen yellow onion if you want to, just to save yourself the time. And here's an interesting ingredient. I have 1/2 cup of steel cut oats. Now, if you don't want to add the oats, I know that sounds unusual, you could use 1/2 cup of any grain that you want. It could be quinoa, it could be rice of your choice, whatever. If you don't want to add any grain like that, you could just increase the amount of corn that you use to 1 whole can's worth, and that would be fine, or up to 2 cups of corn, whatever you want to do there. And then in this little bowl, I have 1 tablespoon of dried parsley flakes and 2 teaspoons of dried thyme. And that is it for now. I'm going to stir this up a little bit, and the greens, the kale, is going to cook way down, and so this will get liquidy for sure. We're going to put this on the stove, bring it to a boil, and then keep it covered up, and then lower the heat to a simmer and allow it to cook until everything is tender and the flavors are blended, and it'll be about 45 minutes or so, and then I'll touch base with you along the way and when we're finished. Right, this soup is starting to come to a boil, and you can see the kale is already dwindling down and wilting, and look how much liquid it looks like it suddenly has. I promised you I did not add any more liquid to the pot. So what we're going to do is lower the temperature down to about a medium low and allow it to simmer for about 45 minutes, and I will have the lid on here just like that, and I may choose to cock it just a little bit, but we want the lid on there just to help it to cook a little bit better. And I'm going to lower that heat down to a medium low, and after 45 minutes or so, I'll show you what it looks like. our soup has cooked for 45 minutes, and I just want you to see how nice everything is blended together. To me, there's just the right amount of broth in there. There's a lot of stuff in the soup, yet it's still soup. So I'm going to put some in a bowl and show you what it looks like. But I am declaring it done. It's cooked for right at 45 minutes. And here's our finished kale vegetable soup. The recipe is below. Give this a try sometime. We enjoy this soup. I hope you do too. This is Judi at Judi in the Kitchen. Bye for now.